Hello and welcome to the Visionless Designs YouTube channel. So today it's kiln time. So we've got the kiln loaded up. We're doing a half load. To be honest, this is going to be a terrible kiln load. It's a trial, see how it goes. It's absolutely awkward because we've done single stacks of everything. So all these are on single layers, which means they're quite wobbly. So obviously can't go any higher. This is primarily because this is all my random assortments of bits I've got. So all the boards are ranging from 1.5 inches, 1 3/4, 2 inches. I think there's a couple of 3 inches. So decided to do single stacks, and in future I'm going to make sure everything is the same thickness, and then put them in. So I can do full width layers, so we can go right up to the top. Because it's all a trial run, see how it all goes. With the cookies here, I've got some here, nice big cookies. I haven't drilled a hole in these, but I have drilled holes in some of the others, and the purpose of that is to try and prevent the logs from splitting. So what tends to happen with round logs is they will split, as from what I understand from talking to people, as a log shrinks, it shrinks on this, it shrinks to the center, and of course it has nowhere to go, so that's why it then splits out, because all the pressure just builds up and causes it to split. So plan is to use the drill holes in, and then fill it with dowels after they've been kiln dried, and see how it goes. I've got a few fresh cut in here and a few that are almost dry, so it's again doing a mixed load, which is not something you should do, but again, this is all a trial run to see how this all goes. So I need to get this up to 70 degrees for a week, I think it is, and then turn it down and take things from there. I've got a bucket of water here as well somewhere. Oh, there it is. That's because I said previously, I'm getting called by my wife.
Call information.
I'll speak to you later. There's a bucket of water, primarily because the way this kiln works is it steam dries the wood, so that the moisture content on the outside is the same as the inside, to again try and prevent warping and splitting. Again, we'll see how that goes and if it does the job. But normally, if I just put wet wood in, you don't need to add water, but because part of this is dry and part of it is wet, I figured I'll add the water in to try and make sure that there's plenty of moisture around it. So yeah, this is got to get the doors on here. We're going to do a practice run of this and do a few loads. At the moment, as you've seen previously, I've got the fan at the back to draw hot air from the top and blow it down the bottom, and the heater is on the side here. But what we're thinking about is adding another fan to draw air from the far end of the kiln on the bottom, and then blow it to the inlet for the heater. So it's taking the air from the colder air that is inside the kiln and putting it back through the heater, so it's not drawing cold air from outside in. This will help with obviously keeping it warm inside, because the heater doesn't have to heat up the air as much that it's drawing in, but also it could also it will also help with the pressure that builds up in the kiln, because during the first week or so I have to have the moisture vent sealed up, so obviously it's positive pressure in the kiln, so because it's sucking air from outside and blowing it in, whereas if it's pulling the air from itself inside itself and blowing in, it creates neutral pressure, so I won't have to worry about it trying to seep out the any cracks or whatnot in it. So yeah, we'll see how this all goes. Yeah, let's get this sealed up. Right, so kiln's loaded, doors are closed in. It's been on for a while now. Kind of missed doing a recording of the theme cycle, so we did that to stabilise the wood. I also went over it and found a few little leaks that need adjusting once this load's fully done. So we've got as you can see, these beams are a nice, quick and easy way of locking the insulation in place. That's nice and tight. So it basically locks in at the top, and there's some dowels in on the bottom, which I don't know if you can see poking out there. Just so it's like a case of pop the beam in, slide it in place, it goes in nice and tight. Unless it's like here where it's really loose because I put in wet wood that has obviously shrunk. That's why you should, always use a kiln. So yeah, I've noticed a couple of where are we? So yeah, there's been water dripping down and out the bottom, certain areas, which is going to be a problem for the chipboard I've got the kiln sitting on top of. So we're going to have a play about with that and see if we can avoid that in future. But yeah, it's all going well so far, I hope, inside. Just got to wait and see how this load goes now. Going to keep checking on it every now and then just to see how the moisture readings are doing. But yeah, it's on a steam cycle for 5 days at 75 degrees, and it's now on a drying cycle for up to 2 weeks, depending on how wet the wood was. I mean, it was a mixed load. There was freshly cut log rings in there, and like 18% softwood slabs. So we'll see how that all goes. Yeah, that needs to be on 2 weeks at 50 degrees centigrade. So yeah, we'll crack on and see how this all goes afterwards. Right, so back at the kiln. As you can see, it's empty. Not for a good reason though. Turns out I made a bit of a mistake when I filled it. So I already said it was a terrible load because it was mix of air dry and wet wood. But obviously, as you saw before, I closed it up. These beams that are on the floor were stopping the air from going up the kiln under the stack. So of course, I've got the heater. Where is it? There it is. The heater was blowing that way, and it was hitting those beams and then swirling up the side, but not really going up the middle. And of course, because it had an impedance, it wasn't able to go up the kiln as easy. So the plan is to put some 3x3s on the floor on each side of the 8x3s, because they'll take a hell of a lot of weight, especially with the amount of spacings I've got between them. That way there's air to go actually under it. I'm also planning on, as soon as they arrive, putting another fan in. So at the moment I've got the fan drawing air from the middle and blowing out the bottom, still in the middle. What I'm thinking of doing is adding, changing that one, but still using the same holes, putting a hole on this side at the back, at the top, and having that draw air in there and blow out through the bottom one I've already got in, and then having the hole at the top, of course, draw from there and then blow out again at the far end of the kiln. So it's got multiple ways of circulating the air. Because the main reason we know that was a problem is where are we? Where's this horrible thing? There. So these were obviously going mouldy. The reason for that, this far corner by the door was only getting to 15 degrees, which is perfect for all these for all the fungus to grow. So obviously it's moist in there and a low temperature, so it was able to grow. So yeah, hopefully this is gonna come out. May have wrecked a load of my cookies, we'll see. So yeah, gonna get onto that now, get these beams down, reload it and try again. So beams are in on the floor, as you can see here. So this should allow the air to actually blow under the stack now and rise up, instead of hitting them and stopping dead. This should allow a bit better airflow. For now I'm probably the hole in the floor at the back as it's going forward and hitting the new beams I put in the floor, and contemplating either just letting that do that so the air goes up the side of the stack there, or putting a flexible pipe coming from that so it goes over the beam and continues up the centre. Again, that's going to be a bit of playing about, just trying little minor tweaking. But as soon as the new fans arrive, I'll be putting, as I said, more holes in the back to get greater airflow around, because you can't get enough airflow in here. So yeah, I'll get this restacked and we'll see how it looks after that. Okay, so here's the kiln. We've loaded it up. There's obviously less in it now than there was beforehand, because even though it wasn't drying properly, it was still drying more towards the heater area. So this is how I've done it now. As you can see, it's all raised up so the air can actually travel up the length of the kiln. We did do a quick test. I have a moisture sensor. Where are we? Here it is. So we close it up and put a temperature and moisture sensor on the end. Should have done a video showing it, but the kiln was set to 50 degrees and this was getting to 46, 44, 46. So obviously this worked a lot better, considering beforehand it was 15 in here, and there was a lot, obviously with it being so cold, it was all condensing here and there was puddles forming. So this seems to have solved the problem pretty well now. Get you out the way there. So shouldn't take too long to get this done. Probably another week, I think. I'll see how it goes in a week's time. So that's the end of this video. We'll see how the this kiln load goes and how it all goes gets on in the next video. Please check out the visionlessdesigns.com website, as well as the Etsy page, Instagram page and Facebook page. Links are in the description below, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them below. Thanks again, and hope to see you in future videos.